Hello, my name is Allis Drufffel, and I've been blessed to work with the faith community for almost a decade now on Earth Care. In the preparation of this chapter, two overarching questions were put to me. One, what does a theology of Earth Care mean to me? And two, how do I live this out? In answering this question, I realized that I needed to start with the question of belief itself, because that is what in turn led me to a theology of Earth Care. Belief in an ultimate creator of the heavens and universe is something I've thought a lot about. The belief in an intelligent being that not only preceded the Big Bang, but that brought it about. Isn't that what we're talking about fundamentally when we speak of belief? Are all of us, humans, all other animals, this amazing landscape of earth, sea, and sky, mere cosmic accidents predicated upon just the right mixture of chemicals 14+ billion years ago? Did we humans create the concept of God to make us feel better? Like having an invisible friend when we're little, and to make us less afraid of death? Do I believe in a being which exists beyond all created things I see and know, including the heavens and the universe? The answer for me is yes. Explaining why feels cold and objective, lacking in that knowledge beyond all reason, but here are a few reasons. One, sometimes I stare up at the night sky, and based upon what scientists have said, I try to image the vastness of the universe. I always fail miserably. Scientists estimate that there are 100,000 million stars in the Milky Way alone, and outside of that, there are millions and millions of other galaxies. This is completely mind-blowing, and pretty soon I have to stop trying to figure it out and just stare and wonder. Now, just because my pea brain can't fathom the vastness of creation does not in itself mean that there is an intelligent creator. But as the infomercials say, but wait, there's more. The next reason I believe is the multitude of times that I've experienced the small, still voice of God in my heart while praying, speaking with God, and in special sacramental moments, like in the liturgy. That voice of light and life that goes beyond my own self-reasonings and self-talk. And the multitude of times I've seen the movement of God in places and people standing up with the courage in the most challenging of situations, like Martin Luther King and Sister Dorothy Stang and Monsignor Romero. The third reason I am led to believe in a creating and sustaining God is, ironically for some people, the continual unfolding of scientific discovery about the complexity of our world, especially in the field of quantum physics. For me, scientific revelation of the incredible intricacy of our world does not make me less of a believer. It actually makes me feel like humanity is catching just a tiny, deeper glimpse into the mind of God. These reflections leave me with feelings of awe and respect and the natural desire to treasure all of creation. The recognition of the vastness of the universe, the personal connection with God, and the way in which God's Spirit moves throughout the world is the very basis of Earth Care for me. Now, let me just note here the vast inadequacy of the term Earth Care. Some people refer to this as creation care, creation stewardship, green faith. There are many different labels. They're all inadequate. But they all refer to the same thing: honoring and respecting all of creation with the guiding principles of a faith tradition or belief in an ultimate creator. The terms carry with them an unfortunately unintended emphasis on humanity being the ultimate being, the great caretaker, above all other things and not part of creation itself. The truth is, all of creation is interconnected and ultimately interdependent. You can't separate the health of the oceans, for example, and the health of the land. You can't separate carbon pollution from a wide range of illnesses that communities suffer. But again, for me, since God is, and because God's identity is expressed in our incredible universe, and God's presence is in our most personal, intimate beings, this dictates to me to honor God as much as possible by honoring God's creation. Okay, so what does all of this reflection mean practically for how I live out a theology of Earth Care? First and foremost, it means trying every day to see the world as God sees the world, and acting with that lens of faith. Second, living out earth care informs my daily actions, like using minimal electricity and water and other natural resources. It necessitates asking the question, how much is enough? Do I really need this product, or do I want it? Third, earth care compels me to be part of educating others to care for and protect all of creation. For example, a wonderful and effective effort called the transition movement is gaining ground. Fourth, earth care dictates that I work for strong, enforceable state, federal, and international policy that lowers carbon pollution as quickly as possible through efficiency, conservation, and decreasing humanity's use of fossil fuels and increasing the use of sustainable energy. We've seen this last one happen in California, and I work for and pray that the U.S. federal government and other countries follow California's successful model. Now, I want to make note of something very significant in terms of carbon emissions. I'm very aware of the fact that I live in the United States, that our standard of living is very high, and my carbon footprint can be 25 to 100 times that of a person living in other countries, like those in Africa. This leaves me with a feeling of hypocrisy, in a way, because I am so advantaged. I just live this, recognize it, keep it in my heart and mind, and try to respond to it as much as possible. Earth care, even in the absence of our current environmental crisis, is an obligation. But now, in the face of climate change and a growing number of people and our oceans, air, and land absorbing the harmful effects of our over-reliance on fossil fuels, there's a true sense of urgency to act. Sometimes extreme action is needed. Note, I say extreme, not extremist. In my view, earth care, based on the belief in a creating God, includes not endangering others physically, not verbally attacking others, and not aiming to lambast and set up an us versus them scenario. But it can indicate putting oneself on the line, whether socially, politically, or legally. For example, politically, I think of Bob Inglis, former senator of South Carolina, who encouraged his fellow conservatives to accept the National Academy of Sciences' conclusion that climate change is caused primarily by human activities and poses significant risks. He was unseated in the 2010 election for this and for other reasons, and he is now on the climate change education circuit. And now, more and more people around the country are taking part in nonviolent civil disobedience. Those of us who do this understand that legally we won't be clean, that this will be on our records, and that certain doors will be shut because of having an arrest record. But as in many situations and social situations in the past 50 years, we believe that the seriousness of action must reflect the seriousness of the situation. In this case, it's just no longer acceptable for our government and the international community to be inactive on the issue of climate change, to not adopt clear and enforceable carbon emissions reductions, especially when we know the exorbitant cost of severe weather situations in terms of lives and livelihoods lost and social and economic instability. I'm strengthened by the fact that there are hundreds of millions of people around the world living out a theology of earth care. I also realize that earth care is an ongoing, fluid effort, and certain areas may be emphasized in the years and decades to come, and that there is a huge variety of expressions of earth care. I'm happy to be just one drop in an ocean of efforts to honor God and God's creation.